welcome to ParenTea, the show where we explore insightful conversation to support you, parent, on your parenting journey. I'm your host, Mai Lê, and together with our esteemed co-host, Dr. Khanh, we're here today to talk about a very special topic today, which is how to nurture our children's emotion and mental well-being. And now let's welcome Dr. Khanh to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back on this journey again.
Thank you to have you. And you know what, Dr. Khanh, every week I'm looking forward to have tea time with you. So what are we having tea today?
Today, I am going to be drinking gray Earl tea.
Okay. That's like English tea, right?
Yes, it is.
I love to drink Asian tea, and one of my favorite in a hot day like today, it's a hot and warm day like today, is cold green tea from Japan. And you don't have, when we think about tea, without tea, most of the time we drink it warm, but I also like to drink tea when it's cold. And it's very, how you say, it helps to cool out, but it's also very good for your health when you drink tea, especially green tea. So let's have some tea. And viewer out there, we would like to invite you to have some tea with us as well. Every week, we drink tea and we talk about parenting. And the topic today is actually Dr. Khanh and I thought about it, and we thought this is a very good topic for parents out there to, and I'm sure you guys probably, these are also the important topic that you could like to hear. So how to build confidence in your child and how to help them with mental health. And with that, I would like to begin by asking Dr. Khanh, in today's fast-paced world, it's very crucial in building confidence in your children. What are some practical ways that parents can instill confidence in their children?
You mentioned the word crucial. I believe self-confidence, self-esteem is in fact very crucial as part of the child's development. There are many ways that we can help boost their self-esteem or self-confidence. My favorite way to introduce that or to teach kids or to boost their self-esteem is by having us get involved with what they're interested in. So the fact that they're interested in an activity or a sport, it itself can boost confidence. But by reinforcing that through taking interest as parents to what they're interested in, meaning getting involved with what they're interested in, it can magnify their sense of confidence. Even something that we may find difficult to get interested in, like video games. I'm a strong proponent of having the child or adolescent get involved in the game and having them express to us or explain to us. So putting the child in a position where they're teaching us, whether it's about video games or about life, shifts the perspective. It shifts their mindset, putting them in a position of responsibility. Because if you're teaching like a teacher would, there are sets of rules and responsibilities that allows them to mature quicker, which then boosts their self-esteem.
Well, so again, it's coming back. Build confidence is to help the children feel like they are the teacher, they are in charge, and we're just there to learn and supporting them. So basically having another support from the parent that boosts up the children confidence level.
Yes. So get involved in what they're doing, and it doesn't matter what they do. Get involved in that, and they will show you what they're interested in. Now, the boosting of confidence, you have an advantage because they want a relationship with you as a parent. As I've said once before, the parent will always be the child's favorite person or favorite toy. So if you get involved and you are curious and interested, they will identify with that, allowing them to feel good about themselves.
But is that the only way? Or is there other way besides the show interest in your children?
Yes, you can get them into activities, like you can find what they're interested in. So, for example, my daughter is very interested in drawing. So what we do is I suggested we go to an art store where she could purchase her own canvas or paper and get special equipment to encourage her to do more art. Now, activities can be any kind of activities. The point is this: if it is something that they're interested in, then it's an opportunity for us to build that part of them because it's who they are. When they reach that part, that is, if they're interested in what they're doing and we encourage that, what it can do is build more confidence. For some kids, it will be sports. Some kids like to engage in sport, and sports is a great way to boost a child's self-confidence because it requires, in many team sports, collaboration, interaction, engagement. So if they're not inclined for team sports, something like my daughter does is just art, they're still collaborating if you get involved as a parent as well. So the things that they're interested in can help boost their confidence.
That's great. And I think that maybe another episode that we're going to talk about the topic is how to discover interest or talent from your child. But to stay on focus on this talk show today is about build confidence and mental health in your children. I find that very challenging for parents, especially busy parents. How do they prioritize their time in order to help their children with boost up the confidence level and mental health, as you mentioned earlier?
Yes, I think it's very important to prioritize time, to make the time. As I mentioned, once upon a time, when you have kids, that is part of our responsibility as parents. It is not sufficient to say we don't have time for our children. That is frankly heartbreaking if we were to say that. Now, if we don't have time for our children, it is important that we make the time for our children because their confidence level, to boost and build it, a lot of it has to be done through us. So it wouldn't matter if it's has to do with art or sports or anything, any other activities. If they are engaged in these activities and we get involved, here's prioritizing time, then they get a better sense of who they are through us while they engage in these activities. That's a huge boost of confidence and well-being when they can see that we are the ones who are supporting them.
Yes, and like any relationship, it needs time. It needs time to grow, to nurture, to understand each other. And parenting, the same thing. So being parent, we know that there's a mix of joy, but also challenging too. So when raising your children, but no parent if you ask them if they're gonna trade the joy was it a challenge, yes, it is the rewarding for parents when they see their children to grow up respectful and healthy and successful. That's a big rewarding for parents. And along the journey, there's also challenging that we face, and among them is the communication. To me, I think that communication play a vital role in fostering strong relationship between parent and children. So could you share some of the strategy that parents can effectively communicate to their children, especially during a difficult time?
You said it beautifully. Communication, if there is a priority that we should set first and foremost, it should be, in fact, communication. And the confidence is just a secondary gain that comes from communicating, or it comes from setting the priority of connecting and bonding with the child, right?
Yep.
So, in essence, you're not building confidence through trying to build confidence. You communicate with the child, setting that as priority. In the context of that relationship, they grow a sense, or they develop a sense of love and the understanding that you have for them, which allows them to build confidence. So here are some tips in terms of communication, setting it out as a priority in ways of communicating that helps to boost their well-being or self-esteem or confidence. Let's start with probably the most important part of communication I mentioned before. I'm just going to mention this word and move on. Listening.
Okay.
The most effective form of communication, and the people who communicate the best are very and highly skilled at listening. And we talked about empathic listening before, or compassionate listening. Listening to listen is very different from listening to the child and then waiting our turn so we can speak.
Yeah.
That's not listening. That gets into the realm of talking again. The child needs to be heard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another component or aspect of communication that is very important. Try empathy. So when we're communicating with the child, empathy is being able to understand her heart and how it feels. It's being able to put yourself in her mind and how it fits. It's being able to sense her spirit and how it resonates. So empathy is an important process in communication. You have to be effective and to understand another human being, in this case, your child, you have to place yourself into the child's experiences in order to understand where the child is coming.
And Dr. Tran, I am totally with you 100% on being empathy, because that means you understand the emotion that your children go through. They have no place to share. When they're at school and they come home, this is us to be able to be the place for the children share their emotion, either happiness or sadness. But it's good if they feel comfortable to come to us and share all this. And for that, it's very important if the parent can be able to play the role that welcoming their children with open heart and be able to listen and to empathy with them. So how can parents, for those that maybe before the children not be able to open up to them to share anything, how can parents cultivate empathy and understanding within their family dynamic to support their children's emotion growth?
Yes, cultivating empathy is very important, and it may be quite a challenge for many, if not most, parents, because we as parents are in a position of authority by nature. we know better. We know best. We have all the knowledge. We have life experiences. So we get trapped in that idea and then we lose empathy. So, meaning we're no longer empathic. So we don't take time to be curious and explore what the child's feeling. Because again, we are the adult, we are the authority. So there's no need to ask children questions. We know it all. They should be asking us questions. Now, that's not the best approach. That is a lack of empathy. Now, with empathy, to cultivate empathy requires not only listening, empathy itself, but if you ask questions, be so curious that you're asking questions about the child, their interests, the way they think about things. It then helps the child feel that they're being heard. So, the best type of questions are questions that pertain to the child. So, meaning, let's say if a child's interested in a game, you can ask, what about this game that you are most interested in? Are there any other games like these that you are also interested in? Why did you pick that particular character to play with? What about that character that you can identify with? Why did you choose that equipment over? There are a million questions we can ask children, the child, that allows us to have a better understanding where they're coming from. We just need to be very curious.
Yes, and I hear what you say, and with my children, there was one child that's into video game, which is I know nothing about video game, and my daughter into like anime or like Japanese character and Japanese like animation. So really interesting to learn from them and what they're thinking in that little mind. And speaking about that, with in the rise of technology, children are exposed to variety of media and digital context. How can parents navigate the digital landscape to ensure that it has positive impact to their children emotional and mental well-being?
Great question. Two responses. One, you can get involved. A lot of times, children want for you to be interested in what they are interested in. So, two, there are things that will be unavoidable. There are things that they will be exposed to that we may not have control over. So, because it's beyond our control, the best that we can do is continue to cultivate a close bond to the child. And from that close bond, they maintain a sense of integrity, meaning they will do what's right because of that connection they have with us. That is a foundation set to help them make right decisions. So, one more time. When you develop a good bond with a child, that bond is predicated or based on good communication and good connection. The child develops a sense of goodness from all these good experiences, which sets the foundation for her or him to properly navigate through the things we hope they could avoid. So things that may be not so good for them, that is on the internet, but they develop a moral sense because of us. They develop an ethical sense because of us. They develop a reasonable sense because it is through our relationship with the child that determines for them how they're going to make their decision.
And I see that. I see the children when they ask for something or when they do something, they look at to see our response. And how do we respond? That's gonna be, how do they react after? So that got quite interesting. I mean, kids are very smart. They smart. They look at the parent and they say, "Oh, if I ask mom for this and mom say no, then I wait. I'm gonna come ask dad, and if dad say no, I'm gonna ask grandma or grandpa until they find somebody that say yes, you can do it, right?" Yeah, but I guess we will still have to deal with it in today's context with digital landscape. Even the adult, we're addicted to it. We hook up to it. We use the device that aim us at our children. However, if we could set the role example, if we tell the children not to use too much, not to be too much on the digital device, we should be the same, because we can't just tell the children not to and we constantly on our phone or on our computer and say, hey, you should not be on computer, and they can say, mom or dad, what about you? You tell me not to do it, look at you. So we have to be the role model ourselves and keep our word. If we want the children not to do certain thing, we should be set the example first. And some other thing that I find challenging is parenting is that the balance between discipline and nurturing. What advice, Dr. Tran, do you have for parents to establish boundary while still fostering a loving and supporting environment for their children?
The important thing about setting boundaries that there has to be clear and effective communication. The importance of why we are setting boundaries. They have to really understand the value of boundaries. Now, that being said, recall again, once upon a time I talked about, and you said this just now, the importance of setting an example. Boundaries, the boundaries that children learn, are strengthened and consolidated when they see that we are setting boundaries. And the example you gave was beautiful. If you want a child to be on electronics less, then you would have to be as a parent, right? Because the child's seeing adults, by the way, they're on the electronics, especially the phone, as much, if not more, than kids.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're always on there because we rely on that. That's where they learn that from, right? So they rely on electronics because they miss the communication with us. So going back to boundaries and discipline. Discipline, and I believe at this point, you all may be aware that I am against discipline in terms of punishment. I've said it before, it's not essential. So you take punishment and you build instead of understanding. So when a child does something you feel is inappropriate or disapproving, take them out to lunch and have a discussion so that you can understand where they're coming from. And then you have an opportunity to express to them where you are coming from. But the language is key, right? You can't simply have this conversation and say things like, you're being dumb, or this is just completely out of hand. I hate what you're doing. You can't say those things. So understanding a child means using language that can help create understanding. Like this. I couldn't help but to notice that you didn't do your chores today. Can you help me understand what it is preventing you from doing your chores? And can you help me help you figure out a way to remind you? That's better language than, what's wrong with you? I told you to do your chores yesterday. You keep forgetting. You're so lazy. That does not cause so much conflict, and because it makes them feel bad.
Well, but sometimes parent is that on purpose. The parent think that by making the kid feel guilty, feel bad, hopefully it will change their behavior. Because if not, they don't think it's important. Their mind was occupied and think of something, and and they don't think that whatever the parent want him to do is important. So by make them feel bad, and again, it come back with parent being authority, and we would say, "Why? I tell you so. Why didn't you do?" And you keep repeating the same mistake, over and over. So to the point that the parent grow out of their patience. Instead of being nice and kind and sweet, they become mean and mean and aggressive, and it's not the tone that the kid want, but sometimes it does happen, so we can avoid that. However, if it's already happened, how can we fix it, Dr. Tran?
You said another word that really stuck out to me: patience. So you go back, you may be inclined to apologize. One of the most powerful, next to the 3 words, I love you, is I am sorry. So if a child can hear those 2 expressions in their life for the rest of their life, meaning through their childhood from 0 to 18, you will set a beautiful and strong foundation of trust in the child. Because if you can say, I am sorry, they'll see the vulnerability that is you, the vulnerability that makes you human. So you're not just an authoritarian, you're a human being that makes mistakes. And if you say that to a child and you really mean that, about 99% of the time they'll come back and say, that's okay, Mom. Everybody makes mistakes.
Well, that's good. That's good to know that. So parent is just a human being, right? And beside saying I'm sorry, accept your mistake, is actually make you even closer to your children, because they don't feel like you are up there. You could be the same level with them, and accept your mistake is set the example. When they make mistake, they need to say sorry as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I wish we will have more time to continue our tea time, our conversation. But for the time being, we would like to end the show here. And I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Tran, for your guidance and support and sharing insightful information for the topic today about how to build your child confidence and mental health.
I want to thank you for your time and the opportunity. I'm hoping that this will continue to benefit as we move forward.
And parent, I want to say thank you for watching our show. Because of you, we are trying to bring in more insightful conversation like this every week in our weekly ParenTea talk show. So thank you for watching, listening, like, share, and even comment so that we know what's important to you and learning for your feedback so we can improve and do it better in the future. And remember, parenthood is a unique blend of challenge and joy, but with correct guidance, we can cultivate in creating a fostering, loving, and caring environment for our children. Until next time, let's continue to fostering a positive connection with your children. I'm Mai Lei, signing off from today's talk show, and looking forward to see you again next week.